Ready?
Yeah.
All right. What's up, breathing people? You're listening to episode 40 of Just Breathing with Laud Lungs. We're back. We're
Nice.
back to the grind. Not really. We're just talking. But I'm here with my wife, Brittany, and yeah, we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on in the world, and we have been out of the conversation for a bit, just taking a break. I'm going to start with this, though. We haven't been totally taking a break because I'm sure all of you have done this already because of our last podcast, but we got a song out.
Yes.
We got a song out. It's called Stand, acoustic version. And I know you went to Spotify, and I know you followed us on Spotify. I know you went and you listened to it 100 times, and I know you went to YouTube and you clicked the like button and not the dislike button. Not that we would be able to see dislikes because there's no dislikes anymore, which is
there really?
Stupid.
There's no dislike anymore?
There's no, there is a dislike button, but YouTube has removed your ability to see how many dislikes the video has.
Oh, that's awful. So people can just be like, I hate this, and you never know?
Well, no. See, this is the thing. What's so interesting about it and what's so transparently kind of gross about it is that, like, they basically just don't want to give YouTubers the ability to ratio something. Do you know what that is?
No.
So they do this, I think, on social media too. I think on like Twitter, or I don't know where it is. I'm not on Twitter, but it's like where you can go and you just basically attack whatever post or video with as many dislikes as you can.
Okay.
So you just get a bunch of people to just go ratio something, which means that there is a higher ratio of dislikes to likes.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, but it really helps people understand if there's like a certain feeling towards what the video is about.
If you get that many dislikes, yeah, I guess it's a good signal.
So like a good example of this is in politics. So like right now, everybody knows, no matter what side you're on, at least I hope that you know this, that the media is extremely biased. Fox News is extremely right-wing and biased in that direction. Mm-hmm. All the rest are extremely left-wing and biased in that direction. And it's so extreme now, and we're getting evidence from whistleblowers that this is being taught. Mm-hmm. That I just saw a video, I think that Project Veritas, who's been in the news a lot lately, released a video where a guy was saying that, like, in the diversity and inclusion training. Now, I don't understand how this has to do with anything related to journalism, but within this training, this whistleblower recorded the trainer talking about how the journalist working at this news organization that was receiving the training had to kind of forget or not put this high standard on objectivity as a part of their journalism. They have to relearn or rethink objectivity and its place in journalism.
So,
now,
wait, so are they saying like how do you rethink the facts?
It's very difficult.
Do you like insert your emotions into the facts or your opinion?
I think, yes. So opinion is definitely a huge aspect of this, but I think from what I can glean from the information that I have, I wasn't there at that training, but the information that was recorded and released, it seems to be that in lieu of objectivity, let me rephrase this. So a lot of people think, and they thought this when like Trump was in office, they thought he was like an existential threat to America. Mm-hmm. So we kind of have to throw the rules out the window in order to get this guy out of here. So
throw the rules or the facts?
Whatever. Well, this is what I'm saying, though, because there are ethics and there are rules to journalism. There's laws that kind of also surround journalism, and you can't do certain things, and you. But for the most part, because we have freedom of the press, the journalists are allowed to do a lot of things that you might think unethical. They're allowed to. There's actually a law that I heard recently because of some of the stories surrounding Project Veritas, where it's actually in law that a news organization can release stolen material if it's a part of like a narrative, a story.
Okay.
They're actually legally able to do this, which sounds kind of crazy, but when you think about it, it's a story. And their job is.
It doesn't sound crazy, actually, unless you're using that in an untruthful way. Then that sounds crazy.
For sure, but then you're running into a lot of other problems that would get you in trouble. If you're just releasing the information within the stolen materials. So like, I think in Project Veritas's position, they had possession of someone's like diary.
Okay.
I don't know much about it, but they were legally able to have possession of this stolen material and release the information within it if they so desired.
Right.
I don't know if they actually ever did, because it was a weird thing that maybe we can talk about, where the FBI raided.
Oh, I actually heard about this.
Of some of the Project Veritas officials.
At least two, I think, that their homes were raided. Yeah.
It's not good.
No.
It's not good. And thankfully, see.
But was this stolen? Was the diary stolen?
It's considered stolen material, I think. Now, that material probably was given to them.
So like it wasn't stolen then?
Not exactly.
It's not like they went into someone else's house and stole it out of their house. That's how it sounds.
No. I think the material was left. Someone obtained it, gave it to Project Veritas. Now they're in possession of it.
So that's definitely not stolen then.
No. They're legally able to be in possession of it, even though it is someone else's property, so it might be labeled stolen material.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like if you left your car somewhere and someone
just took it,
sold it to some guy,
that would be cool.
You'd be like, well, you stole my car. And it's like, well, you left it.
Right.
So it's still stolen material.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, thankfully, and this gives me so much hope, is a lot of journalists came out and was like, yo, hey guys, freedom of the press.
Right.
I don't care what they were looking into. I don't care what they were thinking about releasing, whatever was going on here. For the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, to target a journalistic organization of any kind. I don't care if it's CNN. I don't care if it's Fox News. I don't care if it's Project Veritas. I don't want the FBI looking into our journalists.
Yeah.
For any reason.
That seems a little scary there.
It's very scary. It is very scary. And it's just, it's mind-blowing because like the FBI has this track record. I mean, there's
what
so
do you
many
mean,
of
like lately or what do you
lately?
mean?
No, I mean throughout the history of our country, the FBI, I mean, from its formation, has had its fingers in so many different things. And all we have to do is look at like the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a weird.
The FBI's track record is not good.
Right.
Not good right now. What were you going to say?
No, I mean, I don't know enough about the FBI to really make a comment, but my first thought is like, in a way, you're like, okay, that could be okay because they are the FBI and like supposedly, tell me if I'm wrong with this, they're supposed to be like protecting our nation with like the secret stuff that they do, right? Am I wrong with that? So
I think that might be.
Is that a different?
They are definitely supposed to be protecting the citizens. CIA is more international.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking then.
But
so what I'm saying is you kind of think like you're hoping that they're doing good, but at the same time you're like, okay, how much freedom do they have that is actually taking away from ours because we don't know what they're doing and they could be corrupt.
What information is coming in to make them, because you have to open up a case. So what information is coming in that's saying to them, look into this?
Yeah.
And like once you get to a raid, you're exposing yourself
that you're
publicly
looking into
that you're
something.
looking into something. So they've been following and looking into this for a while.
Right.
And it's just gotten to the raid point. Like that's
Yeah.
weird.
But
It's very
so
weird.
how does this tie into the not being able to dislike something on YouTube?
So this ties in. I have no idea. Where do we even get to this?
I don't know.
One of the things that was real evident on YouTube, I remember, talking about news, talking about Fox News, MSNBC, doesn't matter. They're all biased in some way. What's always interesting to me is to look how Americans view these organizations on YouTube. It's very telling because you'll go to like a CNN video and it's ratioed. That means there's more dislikes than likes on the video.
But that could be like anyone, right?
It could be anyone,
but probably Americans.
But it's weird. Yeah, even if it's not Americans, though, not all Americans, the sheer fact that members of this world who interact on YouTube specifically go to a CNN video.
Yeah.
And I'm only using CNN because it's the most ratioed out of all the news organizations.
Yeah.
CNN is always ratioed. Right. Every single video is ratioed. Number 2 to them, sometimes number 1, is the White House. So the White House under the current administration, which I can understand just by looking at the poll numbers.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Biden's down to, I don't even know, 30-something% in the poll ratings. Kamala's at 28% the last time I looked. It's not good.
No.
It's not good. Even Trump, who was like Hitler, is not, he was never at those types of poll numbers. But it's just crazy because if you go to the White House now, it just says likes and it shows you the number of likes and then it says dislike, but there's no numbers now. Whereas before, a typical video would be ratioed like 500 likes and 3,000 dislikes.
Wow.
It's a pretty hefty ratio.
Yeah.
So, and I don't get it. I was going to try and rationalize it a little bit.
There's no rationalizing that. It's just like we either don't know or they just like.
And this is not something that's specific to politics too. I don't want to like make it a political point.
It seems like that though.
It is to a certain degree. I will say like a lot of times when organizations or companies or studios or anything like that get political, you're going to get more of this type of behavior from people because they don't feel like they have a voice. So this is like a tangible way of just kind of saying like F you to this thing. So like, for example, after the sequels came out for Star Wars, a lot of Star Wars fans were heartbroken at what they were given.
Yeah.
And we know now from a lot of reports that we were given a botched production.
Yeah.
You know, they had no idea by the third movie, what they were doing. Like J.J. Abrams just kind of put some stuff together and was like, it looks like a movie, make the CGI really cool, put it out there.
Yeah.
And that's all they had.
Yeah.
That's all they had. And people have really lost trust in Lucasfilm under Disney's control. And it's really sad. They're redeeming themselves with the TV shows, thankfully, on Disney Plus, but like it's going to take some time. And for a lot of that time, every single Star Wars and or Lucasfilm and or Disney Plus video that was put out was ratioed.
Oh, wow.
So like the Star Wars fans really came out and were just like,
don't mess up Star Wars.
Well, this is the thing though, like, and maybe there's a negative aspect to it. I heard like one Star Wars fan talking about possibly Disney is just sort of tuned out from the fans because it's so toxic and it's so negative and there's so much hate and just dislike of some of the sequels that they're just like, well, we'll just do our thing and we're not going to listen if you like it or not.
I don't think they would do that though. Because
it sure seems like it, because some of the stuff that they've done and some of the things that they've put out over the past few years have really been tone deaf.
Oh.
When it comes to like, you have like some YouTubers that talk about Star Wars, and I'm kind of a nerd. Sorry if this is like, no one likes hearing about this, but I like Star Wars.
Yeah.
But there are some really prominent Star Wars YouTubers who like just talk Star Wars news, rumors, movies,
that's funny. I didn't even
comics,
know that.
books, like all of that type of stuff. And I'm into it.
Yeah.
And there's a narrative that a lot of people hold. This is why they're the biggest Star Wars YouTubers on there. But like, they get into like beefs with like a lot of executives and sort of Lucasfilm employees who kind of badmouth the fans and kind of badmouth like these YouTubers. And it's real strange because like, these are the people that are driving your market.
Isn't this who you are making it for? Like,
well, you're making it for them, and these are the people that are going to be your biggest advertisement
distributors of being like, watch this movie, it's the best thing ever. If it is.
Like the biggest one I think has like 3 million subscribers.
Wow.
So like, you have an audience of 3 million people
just who are that into it
to
like,
what this guy has to say. Like, that's some pull.
That's all crazy.
So anyways, the dislike thing, I just don't really get, because, so let me tell you how it works, because it's really weird. So you can make the argument that like dislikes are disheartening to some people, and we don't want to make people feel bad, so we don't want to have dislikes. But they didn't remove the dislike button. They just removed your ability to see how many dislikes there are.
So who is seeing all the dislikes?
So you know who's seeing it? The people that created the video. So I can go into my video and see how many people disliked my video. So I can still get depressed. I can still be like, oh my gosh, my video, it's not doing well.
That is very weird, because you would think if you're taking away that, you would think it's for the poor person who you're saying you dislike it.
Right. Who has to go and...
who has to see, oh, they don't like my video.
Well,
that doesn't make any sense.
See, this is the thing, though. There are plenty of YouTubers that I've heard who have discussed this, and all different walks of life and subjects that they cover and stuff. And like, they're all like, dislike is how I know if my video hit a certain way or people were not into it.
Right.
And like, yeah, okay, I can go and I can look at that. But like, maybe people shouldn't be watching that video because it sucked.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe I need to do better.
Well, it is nice that they let the person who made it still see that, because I think that that's important, actually, if you're trying to figure out what do people want from me.
Yeah.
But it is weird that
but you can get
YouTube would decide to do that. Like, there's a purpose behind that. I would be curious to see,
but
what
it goes back to what I said before. So YouTube places the news organizations that I discussed and the White House videos at like the top of your feed. So like when you're scrolling, there's like there's a news category, and it's all of those negatively ratioed videos.
How can you get yourself up on top there? Is that an algorithm, or are they getting paid?
Only money.
Well, there it is then.
Yeah.
It's all about money.
Yeah. So
someone paid them to do that.
I am for sure that somebody from, people from these mainstream media organizations go to YouTube and say, here's funding for your platform, or they go to Google because that's who owns YouTube. And they're just like, hey, thank you for putting me at the top of your news feed all the time. It's great. But people don't seem to be liking us very much. I don't like that. It's not good for me.
Make it disappear.
Exactly. But what other thing could it be? What other thing could it be? I literally, I have tried, like with everything, I really do try to get to the bottom of why someone would do something. Like, is there a legitimate reason why? And on this subject, I can't think of one.
Well, I think we've figured it out.
Yeah, other than it's like that old adage where you know, is it stupidity or is it malice?
Yeah.
And like most of the things that we're finding out from the past few years, and I keep referencing the past few years because it's been the most transparent that I've seen a lot of these organizations perform.
I mean, I don't know if transparent is the right word.
Transparently,
you're just seeing through it now.
What do you think transparent is?
No, like it's not like
transparency is seeing through something.
Okay. I'm saying it's not like they're saying this is how we feel and this is why we're doing what we're doing. It's not like that. It's like you're able to.
I don't mean authentic.
Okay.
I'm saying transparent, like they're showing all their cards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's the beauty. There's a beautiful side of that, whereas like the news is crumbling. Like a lot of people refer to as legacy media now, including myself, because it's of the past.
Yeah.
There's so many independent journalists that are out there doing their thing, providing you with the information.
Better information.
And they'll tell you if they're giving an opinion.
Yeah, I love that.
Whereas the news is reading from a teleprompter, but it's their opinion.
Yeah.
So it's so fake because they're reading from a teleprompter and it's pre-written, pre-looked over by like producers, you know, whoever needs to look over this, make sure the narrative is correct. That's why they all sound the same. There are so many compilation videos of the news organizations all saying the exact same
Well, they got to get their story right.
Exactly. Yeah, I got to get my alibi right.
If the objective, what were you saying earlier? If the I can't even remember what you were saying.
I don't know.
But yeah, if they have to like look at the facts a certain way and say them a certain way, then they have to have their story right.
Yeah. And a lot of them are just towing party lines right now. Like I hear stuff on Fox News and I'm just like, ugh.
I don't listen to any of that.
No.
It's such a waste of time.
I'll tune in once in a while if there's like a guest on there that I like, who's independent. That's like the only time that I tune into the news is when like someone not a part of the news that I enjoy is on the news.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, I wonder what they say on the news.
I wonder what happens.
And it's always better than anything I've heard on the news. Like every single news person is just so cringe to me.
Yeah.
All of them. The way they set up questions, you know, you're just like, you're not trying to dig out information. And I know you can't really do that when you have like 3-minute, 6-minute segments. You're not getting to the bottom of anything in 3 to 6 minutes. This podcast would be over if it was 3 to 6 minutes right now.
Yeah.
And we barely scratched the surface of a subject.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? It's child's play.
Yeah.
Comparative to the independent journalists that are doing full-length podcasts who are really digging into specific subjects so that you actually get all the facts and the information and you're able to make your own informed judgments on whatever the issue is.
I love that now. Like before I never kept up with this stuff because there wasn't very many places to find it, at least from what I knew. But now there's tons of places to find it.
There's a lot.
And it's not coming from like, if you want to call it legacy media, it's not coming from there. So you like get to know the person that is telling you.
Yes.
And you get to know like, okay, this is their lean. That's fine with me. I might not agree with them like at all, actually.
Yeah.
But I know that they're telling me the truth and they're telling me what they think. I think this. But at least I know that I'm getting it like the actual information.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about like, are they just telling me a straight up lie?
Yeah.
Like, are they twisting this so much that like, this is pointless listening. So I'm very thankful. I actually listen consistently to the news now, but not to legacy news.
Yeah. Not to the legacy media.
I'm listening to independent people. Yeah.
And the point that you made about getting to know them, it's so crucial because it's the same thing. Like if we didn't have television, if we didn't have radio, a lot of the news that you would be getting, let's remove newspapers. Just let's go back to the Stone Ages of getting your information from a friend.
Yeah.
Was it always accurate? Was it always true? No.
Yeah.
But you knew from a relationship that you had developed with that person if they were trustworthy.
Yeah.
So were they giving you the information to the best of their knowledge? And in a lot of these cases, facts change, stories, develop. That's part of news.
Right.
Are the people that's giving you the information that's available at the time trustworthy? Will they give you what they have now? And can you trust them to update that information? Or if they get it completely wrong, do you trust them enough to issue a, what do you call that? Not a rebuttal, but a, I can't remember the actual news journalistic term.
Oh, I don't know.
Retraction.
Okay.
If they get it completely wrong. They're like, I'm sorry. I was totally misinformed. None of them do it now on the news.
Oh no. Well, that's the most helpful thing. Like I've heard people that I listen to be like, well, I thought this last year or something and that was wrong, or what I just said there, that was wrong. We found out this, whatever. And you're just like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like, that's fine. Like, I rather know that than, because then I know you're actually telling me the truth. Because if you never made a mistake, you're not telling me the truth.
Yeah.
Because people make mistakes.
Yeah.
And I like that. So
yeah, some of the best ones right now. There's the one that you listen to that's like a 15-minute podcast, right? That's called The Morning Wire.
Yeah.
So there's The Morning Wire. It's 15 minutes, just giving you the kind of news of the day.
Yes.
That's a really good one. Not a lot of opinion in that one.
That's what I like. Just give it to me.
It's just giving you the stories. And they might bring on a couple people to kind of tell the story who are looking into this more or as it develops and things like that. So the Morning Wire is really good. Breaking Points, I've mentioned before. That's a really cool one because they have a guy that's more right-leaning. Then they have a girl that's way more progressive on the left. And they do a great...
What's that one called again?
Breaking Points.
Breaking Points.
Yeah, that's Crystal and Sagar.
Okay.
Do a show together. Really good. And those are two good ones to start that are really just covering basic news.
Yeah.
Of the week. I would say the Crystal and Sagar is definitely more opinionated.
Right.
For sure.
Well, there's more talking there, I think, right?
There's a lot more talking. It's a lot longer. And then they break all of their stuff. You can pay, I think, to get behind their paywall. You can get like the full show every day, which is worth it. But I usually just watch the clips on YouTube. They upload those to YouTube, I think, later in the afternoon after their show comes out. I would start with something like that. If you're just trying to get off of the news, detox from the news and trying to get some people, you'll be amazed. I don't agree with everything, especially with Crystal and Sagar, that they say on both sides.
Right.
But they're so willing and able to meet each other.
Yeah.
In different places, and like they give each other time to do monologues every week or every day. I'm sorry. So like this is what's most important to the person on the left that they're seeing.
Yeah.
This is the thing that's most important to the person on the right that they're seeing.
Yeah.
And then they'll have things where they kind of go back on this a little bit, but not ever to a point where they're in a debate.
Yeah.
They're just talking. They're like, yeah, I don't totally agree with that, as we all know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they just move on.
I love that. Like I wish we could get back to that where we can leave room to like respect other people and like to be okay with like disagreeing with them.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that we disagree on.
And the one thing that you really have to be careful, like, because I know people will hear about people like this and then they'll go look it up and they'll find a news article saying Breaking Points is right wing, even though Crystal is literally a socialist progressive.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know when that became right wing, but they're critical of both Republicans and Democrats, so they're hated.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you're going to get all these hit pieces, and the best way to hit piece somebody is to say that they're right wing. There's some, I don't think they were called alt-right, but some far-right news organization.
Like, why did that become such a bad thing? I don't understand that. Like, that's like the new, like, bad label. I'm like, what makes that so bad? Like, it might not even be true.
I don't want to
like,
be far right.
Like,
I don't want to be right to the.
Well, what do people think? Like, I honestly don't know. Like, what do people think when they think far right? Do they think that you like want to go back to the Stone Ages when like women were thought of as less than? Like, is that what they think? Like, I don't understand. Why is it so bad to be
far right?
Far right.
They're referring. Sometimes
like, do they beat their wives? Like, what is so bad about it? I don't know.
What are you talking about, though?
Like, I don't understand why they say like
far right on the political spectrum.
Right. What does that mean?
So that's talking about. So in a lot of people's minds, far right would mean like a fascistic sort of frame of mind.
I'm sorry.
That would be like analogous. That'll be analogous to like the Nazis.
Oh,
so like neo-Nazis were fascists, even though and
was far right ever that?
So yeah, you have neo-Nazis nowadays that are considered far right.
Okay,
like you have neo-Nazis and neo-Nazi white supremacist, who believe that like white people are still the kind of alpha race and like they're being hijacked by inbreeding with people of other races. There are idiots out there that still subscribe to these things.
Wow.
Yeah. What's really interesting about that whole subject, though, and why I'm kind of, quote, far right, is because people that throw out this pejorative, are just using it as an attack vector against certain people. But it's really ill-informed because far right, number one, the Nazis were the National Socialistic Party.
Yeah.
So they were a socialist party, which meant that the state, which we would consider progressive left-wing people, are the democratic socialists, which means that they want a lot more programs, a lot more things run by the state.
Mm-hmm.
That was the Nazi party.
Yeah.
All infrastructure, all industry was owned by the party.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me because, and I might be wrong, but like when I think of left and right, if we're going to talk about that, like I think of like you had the Democrats and then the Republicans, like, but this was just in our country. Like, or is that other places? I thought that was just here.
No, but there have always been, so in America, there have always been communists.
Right.
That were completely influenced by the same communists that were of the Soviet Union.
Okay.
So there was communist
parties. And were they considered Republican at one point?
No. No. And most of the communists are left-wing because communism and socialism are the same thing.
Yeah.
But people are going to disagree with me, and I hope you do write a comment. In practice, they're the same thing. Mm-hmm. There are democratic systems that people will argue that can be coupled with socialism that make it slightly different from communism and less of a authoritarian state controlled everything, where there's still a democratic system of representation within a state run system. Right. That's what people argue with democratic socialism. Okay. Anybody that comes from a socialist country in the Czech Republic or any of the kind of more Slavic states will tell you that socialism is communism.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So yeah, there have always been communist parties within the United States. There's been neo-Nazis,
right?
Which are a new form of the German Nazis within the United States. But
how did they get in the right wing though? I don't understand how is that just a decision that the public made?
Right.
Okay. So they're just like, we're going to put them there.
See, what people don't understand is that communism and fascism kind of meet at the same ideological ends of both right and left perspectives. So the conservative perspective all the way on the right is the fascists. And if you go all the way on the left, you have the communists. These are actually very similar in practice because they're both authoritarian ideologies.
Yeah. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
But this is why we have so many of the problems we do in our country is because I
totally disagree with everything you just said. Like not the way it is, but like I would not be able to place myself in that line there that you just.
But you're not in that line because you're more in the center.
Yeah.
You're probably right wing, because you're more conservative on a lot of your values and different things like that. But like, and I would be the same. I would be more conservative, and a lot of that's from our Christian background.
So is conservative even in that line of like,
like
right and left?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, conservative is right.
Okay.
And liberal has always been considered more left.
Right. But I thought that was like a different.
But liberal,
that doesn't, just because you're conservative doesn't mean you agree with all the things that the Republicans believe.
No,
so they are different in that. That's why it's confusing to me, because like when you say far right, I'm thinking far conservative, and so I'm thinking
that's what people would want you to assume.
How would neo-Nazis be far conservative? Because I would think they're very far from that.
But people that are making those statements would argue that they want to conserve
things of the past.
Yes.
So like evil things that happened in the past,
like
they
slavery.
Want to conserve. Okay. So that's where they get that from.
Yeah,
I understand it better now.
Now, the interesting points that people should look up and know this historically, and this is why I say there's so much friction from people from the right pointing to the left and saying, you communist, and then there are people on the left pointing at the right and saying, you fascist, you neo-Nazi, you white supremacist. But what I'm saying is we're both calling each other the fringes of what both of our sides believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes up such a small portion of the country. The majority of the country is more moderate.
Yeah.
The majority of the country is actually in the middle, but on the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that really is gross and divisive in our country. And historically, if we actually went into the history of a lot of those things, like for example, KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, they were considered, or they're considered now to be a far right organization. So right wing typically would be conservative and would typically put you in the party of the Republicans. So that would lead you to think that the Ku Klux Klan were Republicans.
Yeah.
But that's not historically the case.
Right.
If you go back to the beginnings of the formation of the Ku Klux Klan, it's after African Americans or black people, whatever you want to say now, were given the right to vote. And they, in the South, needed a way to scare black people into voting for their party.
Yeah.
So the kicker is every single founding member of the Ku Klux Klan was a Democrat. And they formed the Ku Klux Klan to harass and scare black people into voting Democrat.
Yeah. Awful.
And what people also don't understand is that the Congress that was in place at the time of the Civil Rights Movement that actually passed the civil rights laws that gave the freedoms that black people now hold in this country, all of the Civil Rights Acts, it was a Republican Congress.
Yeah.
All of the Democrats within Congress at that time, because most of them were also members of the Ku Klux Klan, were Democrats.
That's crazy.
Now, there's a narrative out there that the parties switched. That all of a sudden, all of the Republicans are the Ku Klux Klan now.
Like, that is so
And
crazy.
the Democrats are the party of diversity and the party of...
Yeah.
You look at the history, you decide for yourself. We'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the true history of these systems that are being thrown at people right now. There are so few white supremacists in America. There are so few members of the Ku Klux Klan in America right now. Don't get me wrong. Still too many.
Right.
Those people need Jesus, and they need to be saved from their sin and stop hating their fellow man.
Yeah.
100%. Way too many. But to label an entire wing of America who just happen to think certain ways ideologically.
Right.
Same thing on the right. for people on the left that happen to think some way ideologically
Yes.
to label them, blanket them with this label of racist, white supremacist, communist, liberal, which actually is a beautiful term, but we've put a negative connotation on it. What you really mean to say is leftist, because leftism is where socialism and communism come from. So anyways.
That's why it's so sad how divisive. It is so divisive because like wherever you lean more, it is easy to blanket the other side because no one's allowing people to have a conversation and then be okay with disagreeing. And then once you can have that conversation, then you're like, oh, this person actually isn't that bad.
Right.
We just disagree on a couple things, but it's okay. Like we could actually still hang out and have fun together. And that's where like they divide you so hard that you almost are like, I can't even associate with that person. They're so awful, which isn't true. But anyway.
Yeah.
That's how it feels from the way the media puts you in.
I mean, it's
in that.
completely true. It's completely true. Yeah. And that's, again, going back to, is this incompetence, stupidity, or is it malice?
Yeah.
And in a lot of these cases, it just, once you really find out the truth of a lot of these scenarios, it happens to be malice a lot. And that's what really, really is scary. That's what really, I don't know, it's definitely awoken me to the need to kind of speak more truth. And I was just talking to somebody about this today. I have no desire to fight with somebody on social media.
Yeah.
I have no desire to get into it in the comment section with anybody. And I know there are people that have left comments on this video, or not this video, but on our videos that like, I want to comment and like, I'll like your comments and stuff like that. 'Cause I appreciate you listening to the content and I appreciate you engaging. But if it's a tirade, if it's negative, I'm not going to respond.
Yeah.
I've thought about it 'cause I also want to be helpful.
Yeah.
Like the reason that I'm doing this podcast and saying the things I am is to inform.
Right.
I have no intent of moving you in any direction ideologically or politically or anything like that. I just want to bring you the facts as best I can. And then if you move in a certain direction, great.
Right.
But yeah, I want to have a place like this that I can just speak truth.
Yeah.
To the best of my ability and let the chips kind of fall where they may.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to engage with people who want to argue.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think you want to change anyway. So why would I waste my time? And I don't want to waste your time either.
Right.
I care about you enough to not waste your time in engaging with me. When we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
If I've developed a relationship with you and it's in good faith and stuff, let's go.
That's what I was just thinking that. Yeah. It like the relationship makes such a big difference because it changes everything. Then you can have those kind of conversations and it's okay because it's going to be okay afterwards and then that you're willing to actually think about your own opinions and they're going to think about theirs and you can actually have a real conversation. And if you need to change, then you will, because that person. And yeah. 'Cause I mean, I think about myself and I'm like, I probably, especially because some of these issues that you hold an opinion on, you feel pretty strongly about it and you're not really ready to change either.
Right.
So it's once you actually know someone and you respect them that you're able to hear what they say. And if it differs from your opinion, you're actually able to think, maybe you're right. Like I'll actually consider this. But if you don't know the person, you're going to be like, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
And so it's just
no,
pointless.
it is
It's so
so
pointless.
much easier to like hear somebody out when you're in relationship with them. Like even Pat Kenna that's been on the podcast, like I respect that guy so much. he's not as informed about all the politics and stuff like that, but he's got a brain.
Yeah.
He's got a big head, but he has a brain on him. And I value his opinion. Don't always agree, but I will 100% be willing to listen to him.
Yeah.
More than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else, same thing with like my dad.
Mm-hmm.
He's crazy. He's crazy. I plan on having him on the podcast. He wants to come on and do like once a month.
That would be great.
It would be fun. It's a little scary.
It will be scary, but
A
it will
little
be great.
scary.
I definitely will listen to those.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It'll be fiery.
You might have to have like a timer to like interrupt him. Be like, stop talking.
No. No, not with me.
That's
Not
true.
with
You
me.
guys are good. You guys are good.
We're like the same person. So
you
that'll
are
be
not like the same person.
No, not. I don't think in terms of like demeanor and things like that, but in terms of our thought process and like the way we sort of approach issues.
Yeah.
I'm a little more nuanced than him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little more. I want to seek the perspectives of the other side. He's more cut and dry.
Yeah.
He's more just like, this seems like the answer. Let's go.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. That'll be good. But yeah, it's so much easier when you're in relationship with somebody to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it, right? I mean, that really is the thing that is killing us right
Mm-hmm.
now. It is our ability to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just sucks to listen.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much easier to just know.
Yeah.
To know you're right and dig in.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's killing us though.
Yeah, it is.
It's killing us. While we're on this topic, I just watched, I didn't finish it yet, but like I think it was today, Joe Rogan had trying to remember, I don't remember the other guy's name, but Tristan Harris. Okay. He was a part of the documentary called The Social Dilemma.
Okay.
And it's
I've
like,
heard of this, but I can't remember.
Yeah. So it's a Netflix documentary basically detailing the ways in which social media and algorithms from a lot of different companies are influencing us.
Yeah.
It was a terrifying documentary. I haven't watched it personally, but I've listened to 2 podcasts with this guy, and it's crazy. I mean, because there's just so much money
Mm-hmm.
involved in your information. Everything that not even your information, like they already got that, but every move that you make on the internet, on social media, on what you watch, every one of those moves.
Don't tell me this. I already don't want to be on there. Like, this is gonna make me go
and that might not be a bad thing. That might not be a bad thing because you're definitely not that active. And thankfully, Apple has been good about implementing on their phones your ability to ask applications not to track you.
Yeah.
So that's been a really big move on their part.
Even though I did hear that Apple was thinking about, I don't know if they did this, but using your photos that you have on your phone to track certain things.
Yeah, I can see that.
For justice reasons, which is
nope.
Good.
Nope.
It sounds
no,
good.
It's not.
It sounds good, but I don't want it actually.
No, it's not.
I don't want it because it sounds very, very I could be set up in a wink of an eye.
It sounds very social credit score.
It's very scary.
And if no one knows what that is, just look up social credit score Chinese Communist Party.
Oh goodness.
And right now the communists, they're communist country. But right now in China, the Chinese people live under a social credit score. So how good they interact on social media in terms of praising the government, how they act in what they purchase, how they act in the movies that they watch, all boost their social credit score in the eyes of the government.
Yeah.
and it influences the jobs that they're able to get. It influences, so many different actions that they're able to take in their daily lives based on this social credit score.
I don't want any of that. I don't want anyone to track what I'm doing on my phone.
But many of the things
I have nothing to hide, but I don't want anyone tracking anything on my phone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe we should change the subject. No, it's scary. It's scary the directions that a lot of these companies are going. It's scary the direction that our government is going, because I don't really see anybody with good faith efforts to sort of curtail the things to come with social media and the things to come. I mean, their whole job is to earn your attention.
Yeah.
And right now, I think before cell phones, I forget the percentage of attention that like computers had on the average person. It was like, let's say, like 13% attention, or retention on your attention.
That doesn't seem like a lot.
Well, that was only when there was computers.
Okay.
So that meant you had to like be sitting in front of a computer screen and focused on that. There wasn't also a lot of stuff that you could really do back then. But then with the introduction of the smartphone, it went up to 50%.
Wow.
So from 13 to 50% attention that they were able to keep. And then now where like Facebook has introduced, they've kind of rebranded themselves.
I heard about this, but I don't know what, because I'm not on Facebook a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Well, nothing's really changed on Facebook.
But they're going to, or?
I don't know. But they've kind of taken all of the things that they've acquired over the years, and they're putting them together into what they call the metaverse.
Oh boy.
So this is the thing. Right now, technology is moving towards more of a virtual reality, like I don't know if they call it augmented reality, where you interact in both a digital and real world simultaneously.
Oh boy.
So
like you're talking in like almost on your camera, and then someone else is seeing something else. Like you can do things.
I don't know. There's a lot to it. There's the complete virtual reality where like you are an avatar existing in a digital space. So like it feels like reality, but it's virtual.
Yeah.
But then there's ways that they're working on to make the digital world kind of come in and be like a part of your world. So like, let's say you wear, do you remember Google Glass?
No.
So Google Glass was like kind of a failed project that Google had. And nothing's a failed project because they're working on.
They learned from it.
Yeah, they learned from it. They're working on prototype 2000 or whatever. Yeah. But it was a project where you would wear these glasses and they would have like screens in them so that you could communicate with them and you could be like walking in the city and be like, where's Times Square? And it would bring up maps, like walking directions.
Oh, wow.
And it would direct you to your location.
I'm sure that's still being used in a more high-tech way.
Yeah. And it's not like I don't believe it was like a screen over.
Like, so you can't see.
So you can't see, but it was something kind of like that would I don't know all the technical terms, but some type of hologram that would sort of appear like in your peripherals.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Everybody was kind of freaking out about it at the time. But what's so interesting was we weren't as advanced at that time when they came out. And we were all like, whoa, the future is here. Yeah. Now, what's very interesting is like the perception of the metaverse. Like once, I think Mark Zuckerberg put out like a video talking about the metaverse and like what we would be able to do and how we would be able to interact with each other through the metaverse.
Yeah.
And people were not a fan.
Really?
Not a fan.
I would thought you were going to say the opposite.
I mean, people already don't have a great perception of Facebook.
Well, okay, yeah.
You know, with the amount of censorship that's already taken place on there, with the amount of things that they're doing through their algorithms to enhance a lot of the problems that we have, whether it be, you know, organizations like Black Lives Matter or Antifa on one side, or QAnon and other, you know, right-wing groups. There I go again, you know, saying that. On the other side, like there was these studies where they found out that, you know how you can have groups on Facebook? They found out, I'm trying to remember, I'm trying to remember all the stats, but it was something like they did evaluations on like by different subjects of group Facebook group pages. And so let's just say, for example, Christian groups on Facebook. I think it was something like 15 out of the 30 pages were all run by Russian bots.
Oh.
So they weren't even run by a real person.
Yikes.
But, so this is the kicker, and this is the most, this is the scariest part. So a lot of the people, so let's say one of the biggest like Christian pages, which isn't even run by a real person. It's run by some dude in Russia or a team of people in Russia.
It's creepy.
Have this page and they invite like 300,000 people to it. Now, Facebook sees that, and instead of being like, this is weird, we should investigate who's running this, make sure that people that are engaging with it are doing it organically.
Yeah.
They push this page because it seems to have like a big following. They push it in front of you. So if you're looking for Christian memes, or you're looking for Christian inspirational quotes or something like that, you'll be scrolling on Facebook, and Facebook, because they know, let's say you're a Christian, they'll put it in front of you, and you don't even have to say, I'd like to join this group. Your engagement, like if you like it, or if you like click on it to look at it,
look closer at it,
they'll add you automatically because they think they're helping you get into things.
How did you find this out?
So this is what Tristan Harris was talking about. It was like him and a guy that he's been working with, another
that's awful
intellectual. But they found that out with different Black and / African American group pages. They found that out with Native American pages. Like,
what do they want from you? What are the bots like trying to get from you? Just more information, or trying to sell you stuff, or like what?
There's different things. There's data collection organizations where like China and Russia, and I actually think the biggest Christian page that was controlled by bots was actually somewhere out of Macedonia.
Yikes.
It's crazy, right? Like, you don't think about this, but other countries are actively trying to collect your data. They're actively trying to sow misinformation. Whoa. There is misinformation. I hate that word because it's been used incorrectly by these social media companies. But there's for sure misinformation out there and divisive content. There's a lot of content on these pages that people get pushed into. Like, so think about this. You know, the whole QAnon thing where people believed, they still believe that Trump is the president. And, and Trump, I don't know all the details, but something like Trump was going to bring down like this pedophile ring that exists in our country.
I didn't know about that.
And like Jeffrey Epstein and different people who were involved in this pedophile ring. Trump was going to, I don't know, win.
Bring it to light.
I don't know. I don't know all the details. But Facebook is really responsible for a lot of people being introduced to QAnon.
Because they pushed it?
They pushed it. So maybe this person...
You would think they would not be pushing
But maybe this person's on the right. This page is a right-wing page, has a lot of followers. the algorithm, I'm not putting Facebook on the spot like a person's like, look at this.
Oh, no, I
but
know
their
what you mean.
algorithms
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
okay, Larry likes this Republican meme page. So let's push this big group that has a lot of other right wing.
They'll probably
people.
like this. This will keep them on Facebook longer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's attention based. So Facebook takes posts from this bot run QAnon page, pushes it in front of people, and they're like, huh, what's this? And then boom, they're down the rabbit hole thinking that, I think recently some QAnon people thought like, who do they think? They thought like one of the Kennedys was like going to come back to life or something like that in like Dallas.
What?
I don't know.
Okay, this is getting a little weird now.
It's weird, man. It's weird. It is strange stuff. But,
oh my goodness.
But what's most strange and what's most concerning is that this is going on.
Yeah.
And I'm not the type of person to want the government to regulate these companies.
Even though I feel like they do to some extent.
I think they influence.
But
I mean, like, I don't want laws to be in place to regulate social media.
Yeah.
Now, they're huge and they're powerful and something needs to be done. And quite possibly, it just needs to be a utility.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would even work or how that would be able to be put into effect. I've heard
someone's still in charge of it then.
The companies are still in charge of it, but no one can be denied service of it.
Okay.
Just like electric. Now, people did shut people's electric off during the pandemic if they were not following certain rules.
That happened here?
That happened in California.
Oh, okay. Well, that's like a different country. So.
Yes, it's a different country. Because like there was some TikTokers that were having parties during lockdowns, and they shut off their utilities in order to kind of disperse them and stuff. Yeah. Not lawful. Definitely not lawful. I mean, California, you can get away with that because you're not going to freeze to death.
Yeah. Actually, it does get cold there upper.
In the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the desert or up north towards Washington. But like, yeah, it's real weird, right?
That's weird.
It's real weird.
I mean, so yeah, I totally would be like the person to just go and learn homesteading. Just like bring me to the mountains. You know what? I'll be fine. Teach me how to hunt. Teach me how to skin a deer.
I mean, and that's fine for you.
Yeah.
But there are millions of Americans that are interacting and having interactions on these platforms on a daily basis that something needs to be done to protect them.
Yeah.
Because it's not our fault
that
these algorithms are manipulating our neuro, not chemical makeup, but our actual neurological makeup and changing it through the information that we're receiving.
Right.
I mean, one, we're being fed so much negativity to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why depression is on the rise. Suicide is on the rise. We're having so many more political division, so much more.
Don't forget about like the isolation though, too. Like,
right. There's not real connection.
I don't like these types of platforms because it isolates you from actual connection with people and relationships. Yeah. You feel like you're surrounded by that because you might have a lot of friends or whatever, but not really. Not if you're actually getting out of your house and meeting with people and having meaningful relationships.
Yeah.
I think it's bad. I think that all these things can be used in a good way and are beneficial and are helpful, but too much of it can be negative. Yeah.
I'll be right back. We can talk a little more. I got to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
And we're back. What were we talking about?
We were talking about Facebook and all the stressful things on there.
Facebook was always stressful for you.
It's always been stressful. Now I'm like, get me away from it.
And that might be the right option for a lot of people. one of the things that could slow down the progression of a lot of these things is just the lack of use and engagement in them.
Yeah.
Because Facebook will always go in the direction of the engagement because they need your attention.
Yeah.
That's their asset. That's how they give you ads. That's how they, collect your information, track you.
Yeah.
Is through that.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, everybody should just not use social media as much.
Yeah.
Just in general. I understand that some people have to, especially if your income and stuff like that is dependent on it.
Yeah.
But cut down on the time you're looking at your news feed.
Yeah.
Focus more on engaging with, if you have fans, engage with your fans, post your content, get off.
Yeah, I think
get off.
As you were saying that, it makes me think of I feel like some people, it just depends on your personality. Just know what you can handle and your balance. Know what is healthy for you. And then if you find that you're feeling differently in a negative way when you're on there, then you shouldn't be on there as much.
Yeah.
For me, a little bit is too much.
Yeah.
So I don't go on very often.
Yeah.
It's not enjoyable for me at least.
One thing, and anybody that has to post on their pages for some type of reason, if you have a business page, some type of business account or band page or artist page or something like that, Facebook has a business suite, they call it, that allows you to, I think there's a news feed associated with it, but you don't have to engage with that. You could just schedule posts. You could post directly on that platform without ever having to go to the actual apps. And
that's kind of nice.
Now, this is just for Facebook and Instagram. So if you use other stuff, I don't know how to help you.
Yeah.
That's on you. But for those two, I just schedule a lot of stuff, or I'll just post it there. So I never have to go to the pages.
Yeah.
I can interact with people. If someone comments and I want to like it or comment back, I can do it there. And I don't have to engage with all that stuff. It is hard though. I mean, I find myself just mindlessly, it's mindlessness, that's really what it comes down to.
But that's a personality thing too, I think. Because
no, I think it might be personality and it might just be addiction.
Yeah.
Because I'm engaging with content on YouTube a lot.
Yeah.
And I find it's really hard to disconnect.
Okay.
And I don't spend a lot of time on social media, but social media feels a little bit like YouTube.
Okay.
So it gives me enough of that feeling that I get from getting content on YouTube that it holds me, even though I don't ever feel good or better or anything of that nature after being on social media. I usually feel the opposite. It holds me there because of that. Because I'm getting, a lot more people post videos now, so I'm getting that attention hold in just a different way.
Right.
So, but it's addiction because I watch way too much YouTube. There should be times where I just shut it off and just work in silence or do something else or just have times, where I'm just not engaged.
Yeah.
Because, and I've really found this to be the case, it's difficult to disengage and just be present for my kids.
Yeah.
Be present with you or, it's not to the point where, if we're doing something together, I'm not just sitting there on my phone.
Right.
But if we're not, if we're both if you're working on something, I'll be over watching a YouTube video.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to be present when you're not, I just want to sit here with you.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that. Because I could be learning something, and maybe that's the personality part.
That's probably.
I just want to know more.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot of stuff in this life, and I was thinking about that today. How I'm not really engaging in this life enough and looking for new experiences. I'm living through people and gleaning what I can from their experiences.
Yeah.
But it's not as fulfilling.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do it.
Right.
And I didn't learn any lessons because I didn't do it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I'm thinking about that right now. Is like what things can I do to kind of boost my experiential spectrum.
And I think there's something, I wish I actually knew like if anyone has done studies on this, because I'm sure they have, but like I know that it's beneficial to just have like time where you're not being like stimulated or engaged by something, just to like catch up with your thoughts.
Yeah.
Because I think that's probably a problem actually of a lot of people, but like there's always something that is like having your attention, whether it's an actual life experience or there's quiet and then you're just like listening to something or watching something.
Yeah.
But like people don't take the time to be like, what are my thoughts doing? You would be surprised. Like if you actually let your thoughts go and you're doing something, you'll be surprised at what comes out and you might not like it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you put something on. That means you figure it out.
Right.
Like you let that run its course and figure out like, okay, you noticed, okay, whatever it is, maybe these are really negative thoughts. Like being like, okay, where is this coming from? Like, why do I feel this way? Because I mean, this is just an assumption of mine, but I feel like a lot of people use social media and use TV or podcasts to like not address what's going on in their heart and mind.
Right.
And they're not in a healthy place, but they feel better when they don't have to deal with it.
Right.
And
they're distracted.
Right. Yeah. And that's just you're not making yourself better. You're making yourself worse. And I think that's a big problem of a lot, especially young people who are on their phones all the time.
Yeah.
Like they have no idea where they're at or why they feel the way they do.
Yeah.
And they're not going to take the time to find out because it's too uncomfortable. That's why I'm like, relationships are so important. Time, just quiet is important to find out what is it that you need. What is it you need? What do you need to do? What do other people need from you that, those are my thoughts.
It's a difficult thing to find though. You have to plan for it. And that's something I haven't really planned for right now is quiet time.
Yeah.
You know, I find time every day to like read the Bible because that's something like that's important to me. I want to do that.
Yeah.
But time to just sit.
And even it doesn't even have to be just sitting. Like, I mean, I'm mostly a state.
And I'm not talking about meditation. I mean, like actively sitting, like where I'm planning on thinking.
Yeah.
I'm planning on sitting with my thoughts. A meditation is a lot.
That's different.
That's more like clearing your mind.
Yeah.
I'm not talking. I think there might be some benefits to that. I find a lot of times I need to work through the things in my mind and then I'm more clear.
Right.
A lot of people just try to clear their minds, but they just ignore the things that you should be thinking about.
Yeah.
Because your mind's a beautiful thing and will help you navigate the things that you need to get through.
Right.
If you let it.
Yes.
And I do struggle with that the most because by the time I'm done reading the Bible or, you know, I got to get ready for the
kids.
Yeah, I got to get ready for the day. By that time, the kids are up. So that's its own distraction.
All quiet is gone.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Well, let's wrap it up here. Hope everybody has a great rest of their week and weekend. Take some time off. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to take some time off and maybe plan ahead. If I need to post anything on social media, get it scheduled, get it done, get it ready to go and for the weekend, and then just take some time off away from that.
Yeah.
Detox a little bit. I don't mean you got to give it up entirely. I'm not telling anybody that because I'm not going to do that. So, but take breaks. Like everything in life, moderation is key. And have you that sounded so racist. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you go listen to our new song, Stand, acoustic version, available on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon Music, places. Whatever place you listen to music, it's there. So go do that. Keep downloading it. Keep streaming it. Keep playing it. Give us a like if you're going on YouTube. Share it. That would be awesome. And we love you all. Have a good night. Bye-bye.